Big shout out to Dynamic Machine of Detroit for sponsoring this video and the channel. Hello.
Hello.
And welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to go over how those things work and the macro programs behind them. But first, let's start with an experiment. What happens if you turn a touch probe on and then command that probe to move 20 inches and then interfere with it? Well, let's find out. So I got M74 program, which is gonna turn that probe on. But watch what happens when I touch it. Nothing. Now the reason why that probe didn't stop is because I didn't have a G31 programmed in my line. So we're gonna turn our probe on, we're gonna move it incrementally 20 inches with G31 on that line. Let's see what happens. So you can see the probe turn on. Now watch what happens when it touches my finger. It stops. This is what your probing programs do when you're running them. They use the skip signal to know when the machine has touched something to stop. That signal is received when this probe right here sends a signal to that receiver right there. That receiver is hooked up in the electrical cabinet in your machine. So when G31 sees a signal, it stops. But right now we have done nothing. We haven't measured anything. We haven't located anything. We haven't detected any kind of collision. We have done nothing. So that's kind of where the macro programming goes into these probe cycles, and that's exactly what I want to show you next. Let's get into that. So, before we get into the macro program, there's a few things I need to explain, because if I don't, for some of you it might be really confusing. Starting off with our pound 5020s, these are our current machine position. These values cannot be affected by any offset, a work offset or a tool offset. These are always going to be your current machine position. After that, we're gonna have our pound 5040s. These are our current absolute positions. These positions are going to be affected by your current work offset and your current tool offset. Then after that, we're gonna have our G54 work coordinates. These are your pound 5220s. The only one you're gonna need to worry about here is pound 5222. And yes, if you want to write your G54 into your program, you could say pound 5222 equals 9 point, and your G54 Z value will be 9 points. Now, underneath that, the other thing you need to understand is we're going to be using a lot of if statements with then after that. What that means is we're going to have if a condition is met, then it's going to draw an alarm. What does that look like? Well, right here I have if pound 5041 is NE not equal to 3.82, then pound 3000 equals 1, like and subscribe. But if you say pound 3000 equals 1, anything in parentheses after that will be an alarm that comes up on your screen. So you're gonna see a lot of this, so make sure you understand that before we move on. After that, the last thing you're gonna have to understand is ATAN, that's arc tangent. If we have two lengths of a triangle that we know, and it's a right triangle, we can use arctangent to figure out the angle of either one of those corners. And we're gonna be using that. So that's it. On to the next side. So the first thing I'm going to do in the macro program, which by the way is down in the description below, and also by the way, I really want to put this disclaimer on this video, use the probing cycles that come with your machine. Do not do what I am doing. It's not that it's bad, it's just that it's dangerous and stupid and isn't really backed up by any kind of calibration cycle or anything like that. Yes, so this is how these programs kind of work. Real probe programs, like jumping in and out of like 800 million programs, it's insane. That's actually why I did this. I want to see how simple I can make it. Use your probing cycles. Do not do what I'm about to show you, but this is how it works, which is kind of cool. Anyways, so the first thing we're going to want to do with this part is locate our G54, which is all the way on the left side of the part we're working on. After that, I'm going to want to probe the little flange on this part, which I kind of drew in the Z-axis reference plane right here. You know, this is me probing, those are probes. And I'm going to locate the angle to make that flap. But first, the front of the part. So you're going to see right here, I have pound 800 equals 3.82. I remembered it. That is move one. So what I wanted to do was ensure if the part was loaded in some weird messed up way, I'm gonna wrap it over, wrap it down, turn on my probe, activate the skip signal, and then feed down to X of pound 800. You will then see right after that, if pound 5041 is not equal to pound 800, then pound 3000 equals 1, crash on move 1, or something like that I wrote. I'm not looking at that. I'm gonna try to do this all from memory. What that basically means is, because the skip signal is activated, if that probe hits anything on its way down, if the part was misloaded, it won't make it to pound 800. Then I say, if pound 5041 is not equal to pound 800, it knows it didn't get there. So then you'll get a crash on move 1 alarm. The next thing I do is I move over in Z, I say G31, Z of pound 801, F of like 5 or something, and Z of pound 801 is Z of 0. Now, because the probe is 6 millimeters wide, which is 0.23622 in standard, or 0.1181 if you have just half of that in standard, I know that Z can never technically make it to 0. So if Z does make it to 0, I know the part wasn't loaded right. So I kind of use it as a double check, right? We're gonna check the location with this, but also if it gets to this point, I know something's wrong. So G1, G31, Z of pound 801, F of 5. So I'm going to Z of 0. Hopefully I hit the front of the part. If I don't, the next line is, if pound 5042 equals pound 801, then pound 3000 equals 1, move 2 failed. Is that what I said? Ah, it is. Look at that. All right, so let's just say it didn't fail. We touched the front of our part. So now you're gonna see I'm gonna write to pound 901. I'm gonna say pound 901 equals pound 5022. This is gonna take my machine position. Now the truth with this part, some things you don't know about it, is there is a little bit of stock on the front they want me to maintain. So that plus 0.1181 is 0.1492. So you'll see just underneath that, pound 5222 equals pound 901 plus 0.1492. So that just wrote to my G54 work offset. So now I've located the front. Now we're gonna wrap it up and we're gonna move over and we're gonna start probing the flange. Really trying to do all this memory is a stupid idea. I need to get a teleprompter. And then rapids down to another X position and we turn on the probe, and that's when we're gonna get into all this logic right here. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to X of pound 802. So I'm gonna turn on my skip signal again. So if the probe gets touched, it's going to stop. And I'm gonna feed down to X of pound 802. Now, this is just a total safety move. If you watch it in the footage, I'm like way above the flange at this point. I just figured if they loaded this so messed up and it crashed on the way there, an alarm needs to happen, because good God, who knows what this thing's gonna do next. So I say, if pound 5041, our x-axis, is not equal to pound 802, then pound 3000 equals 1, another alarm. I'll say crash on move 3 or something like that. Now, we've made it down here. We don't know how flat our flange is, but we need to move over to a Y position. Now, in order to calculate this, I need a Y positive and I need a Y negative. That is what pound 803 and 805 are. They're the positive and negative sides of this flange. So we're gonna do the positive one first. Yes, so we're gonna say G1, G31, Y a pound 803, we're gonna move over. At this point, again, if it crashed somehow, if the part was that cocked, I need to draw an alarm here. So I'm gonna say if pound 5045, which is our absolute Y-axis position, is not equal to pound 803, then pound 3000 equals 1, alarm. I think you're starting to notice a pattern here. So next thing, I forgot to put a G31 in here, so forgive me, all right? It's a little sloppy, but like, So the next thing I'm gonna do is holy crap. Next we're gonna say G1, G31, X a pound 804, F a 100. Now, the problem with going at 100 inches a minute is when your probe hits the surface, it's gonna like really like bend and deflect. Not great for accurate measurement. So knowing that, I want to feed down fast, because let's say they put the part in super straight. You're gonna feed from X of 8.5 inches, it's gonna take forever. So let's just feed down fast and touch. We know it's gonna stop when it gets there. And then let's move X up incrementally from wherever it touched at, 300 thousandths, which is roughly 8 millimeters. So we're gonna move up 300 thousandths, and then we're gonna probe down again slowly. This will get a more accurate reading. At this point, I'm gonna say if pound 5041 equals pound 804, then pound 3000 equals 1, alarm. Now, why would I do that? Well, I wanted to put the logic in there. Let's say if they loaded the part upside down. When you look at pound 804, 4 inches is a point in space that won't touch the tube, but if it gets there, it'll be in space. That means the flange is upside down, which means this is all, you know, for nothing. We have to stop them at this point. But assuming that they're not completely brain dead and they put the flange in there the right side up, it touched. So now we have a number. So now we're gonna say pound 902 equals pound 5041. So we just took our absolute x-axis position and we measured it. Now we're gonna do arctangent. We're gonna do some math, okay? So we're gonna say pound 904 equals the arctangent of pound 803 divided by pound 902 divided by 2. What is that? Well, pound 803 is our absolute Y position. It's 2 inches, all right? We went 2 inches from center, and then we just touched some random point in X. Now, X on a lathe is a diametrical axis, so in order to do proper trig, we need to divide that diametrical number by 2 to get a radial number, so we can actually figure out what that angle is. Now, this macro, I'm sure if you're looking at it, it goes on for a lot longer, but basically all it's going to do is it's going to do this on the other side using the negative number. So we're gonna get a positive number and we're gonna get a negative number. And we're gonna find the difference and we're gonna move the part that much. And I'm going to say as a disclaimer, this isn't correct. My idea was wrong. I did not think or compensate in my head for the fact that that trig doesn't work if the part's at an angle. It only works if it's flat. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Yes, I should have just created one angle and then fixed it. I know that, but I then created a loop to where it's more than a 20,000th of a degree. Keep rerunning this on both sides until you get the part literally perfect. And when I indicate it, it's flat within 1/10,000th of an inch, like 0.0001. So yeah, it works. I'm just gonna leave it for now. Once this goes to the customer, we'll fix it. We'll use the proper cycles, all that. I just wanted to show you guys kind of all this stuff, right? I was just whipping this up the other day. I had 4 hours to do this. The last tool I needed like a super long custom end mill, and it wasn't gonna get in until tomorrow, and it was like 1 o'clock, so I figured, screw it, why not write a probing macro? I do have 4 hours to kill. You will see right here, I calculated 904. I got the angle of the trig that I just did right there. On the other side, I got 905. Well, 904 is positive, 905 is negative. So if you put them together, you can get the difference, all right? I then say pound 906 equals pound 904 plus 905. So I just got the difference of the two results I got on both sides. And then I say pound 5223 equals pound 5223 plus pound 906. That's adding my results from doing this on both sides to the C-axis position, because that's the third axis. Then it's going to go to C of 0, which will correct it. And if you watch it, it keeps correcting it and correcting it till it gets it right. Now, how it knows to keep looping it is a little bit further. I'm going to say pound 907 equals 0.02. This is our max deviation between points. And then I'm going to say if absolute pound 906 is less than pound 907, go to N777, which is here, and it's gonna rerun it. It's gonna keep rerunning this until the results are less than 20,000ths of a degree. That is how that loops. Totally incorrect, totally not something you should do. Program's down in the description below. You can kind of look at how these macro variables work. I really hope this video didn't come out too long, Adam, I'm sorry. But yeah, that is it for our video today. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found the macro information useful. If you did, again, please like and comment. My channel needs your support. So yeah, hope you have a great day. I am definitely going to eat a Tim Hortons turkey bacon club for lunch today. Eat it like every other day. Super good. Hope you have a great day.